Hey there, it's Scott. I'm still working on the next show, but in the meantime, I thought I'd release this super short bonus episode with a bit of material I didn't have room to include last time. As always, if you're new to this podcast, I'd suggest you first go back to the beginning and listen to all the previous episodes in order to get up to speed and for what you're about to hear to make a bit more sense. For those of you who've been following my story for a while now, you'll recall that scene in the last episode where my brother and I, along with our friends Rosie and Jane, made a pilgrimage to a tea party with a bunch of other Mongol rally teams at the Door to Hell, a giant fire pit that's been burning for 40 years in the middle of Turkmenistan's Karakum Desert. We'd been on the road for several weeks by this point, so this was a great chance to swap stories with other rally teams of some of the crazy situations we'd all encountered along the way. Jeremy Ireland from the team Eastern Ramblers told me he wasn't content with the normal challenge of driving from London to Mongolia, so to make it more of an adventure, he decided to travel by motorbike.
It's been hard going on the bikes especially. I mean, the tanks don't really hold about 9 litres, so we need to stop every 100 kilometres, more to rest our asses than to put fuel in. But this is our 14th country, so it's been good.
What's been the biggest highlight of everything so far for you?
Biggest highlight? Armenia, yeah. We rode the length of the country, so about 500 kilometres in a day, and the last 200 kilometres was just dirt tracks. And we've got two 23-year-old Yamaha TTR 250s, dirt bikes, and that's what they were designed for. Like, there's never been a British tourist going through these remote places, so we had so much fun.
For James Tuffle from Oxford, England, the Balkans region of Eastern Europe was a highlight.
We went and broke into a disused Soviet headquarters in Bulgaria at the top of the most amazing mountain range.
And Mikey Dix from the team Piston Broke had had a memorable experience the night before in Ashgabat, of all places. While we were feeling a bit creeped out by the city, he and his friends had a chance encounter with a local guy who was celebrating his birthday.
This guy invited us to his house. He was a pilot for Turkmen Airways.
Where did you meet him?
And it was just on the road. He was like, "Where are you from? And we're like, "Yeah, we're from England. We're from New Zealand." He's like, "What are you doing?" We're trying to find a drink. He's like, "I would like to invite you to my house. I have approximately 10 liters of vodka." We're like, "Okay."
So they followed him back to his apartment and ended up having a really great time, though feeling the sense of anxiety foreigners constantly feel in Turkmenistan. Mikey said he kept thinking to himself, if only the government knew we were here. Of everyone I spoke to, my favorite story was from Irish rallier Michael Freeman, who was driving a hot pink-colored Nissan Micra with his friend George from Australia and their friend Lucy. They'd come up with the clever idea to use the tools of online dating to make connections wherever they went.
We just decided we'd use Tinder as a way to meet local people because, it's kind of handy. You can kind of set your location ahead of yourself. So we're like, if we're going to Romania, we can kind of skip ahead, meet some Romanians. So we done that, made some friends along the way. I met a girl in Baku who was a spa manager in the Hilton.
Spa in the Hilton in Baku, Azerbaijan.
Yeah, so I met up with her one of the days, just as friends or whatever, and it was my 30th birthday as well. So she got myself and Lucy like a spa day and massages and all that kind of stuff, so that was definitely worth it,
I also had a good Tinder date in Hungary.
That's George.
I ended up with a bottle of Palinka, which is like plum moonshine, and a £5 donation to the cause, which was wonderful.
What is it like going on dates in these different countries? Like, I mean, you're not going as a date, really, right?
It depends on what you're looking for. I mean, I don't think you're going to go to Turkmenistan and just get a shag. It's not really that
Tinder doesn't work here.
It's not
we
really
tried
that kind of vibe.
on Wi-Fi in 2 hotels, and Tinder does not work here.
But I mean, even culturally, it's just totally different. Like, the girl I met was living with her family, and she's going to continue living there.
Even in Azerbaijan, very conservative. It's not like the, hey baby, let's have a one-night stand kind of thing. You don't really care about that too. Even people that I haven't been able to meet up with because we've been moving so fast between countries, they've been like, why don't you try going to this place? Why don't you try going to that place?
It's been useful just for getting advice on where to go, and like, it's just local knowledge really, just another way of getting it.
And you're going to continue looking for Tinder dates?
I don't think Tinder's going to work that much after
Well,
here.
it might, maybe. I think Russia and Mongolia, it will probably work in.
Yeah.
But Mongolia, we're not going to have a lot of internet. We'll have to be a bit more careful in Russia, just so you don't end up in a bathtub full of ice without a kidney.
I have two. It's okay.
That's all right. We got two. Yeah.
I've got more interviews with some of the other rally teams coming up on future episodes. The next full show will be out in a few weeks, so stay tuned.